Hi guys, welcome to the Chinese Grand Prix. FP1 on sprint qualifying. It's a sprint format weekend with the normal racing weekend. FP1 sprint qualifying, the sprint race, and the qualifying, then the race. So in FP1, you just have just one hour to set up your car, which was a disaster for teams like Red Bull. They weren't able to set up the car in the right way, to put the car in the right window. With good diligence from the drivers, they were able to put the two cars into SQ3. Probably that's the best they could do. Max Verstappen will be starting 8th and Isaac Hajar will be starting 10th. And the time for them to chase were just limited time, but Mercedes was still showing their class. They were just in the class of their own. Starting from the FP1, the moment George Russell stepped into the car, he was just pushing down the guns. And one thing I noticed, and I've said it last week, is that the Mercedes still have a lot of power to unlock. They've not even started. They've not even pushed the car to the limit they believe the car should be pushed to, and they are already gaining a lot on the car. That is huge. That is massive, I can tell you. If Mercedes can be on this trajectory, it's going to be a very huge one for other teams to deal with. During the FP1, both Mercedes were untouchable. Ferrari used their Macarena rear wings, I think, because it was rushed. Probably that's what drivers said. They were unable to achieve more with it. But I think if they had been able to have a good setup, it's not in a sprint format weekend that you bring such rear wings. You have 1 hour to set up. I think that's one of the challenges they had. Then they are going to have about 2 or 3 formats of the rear wings in which they've not really completed, so they don't know which one is suited for which track. So I think that's one of the major reasons why they could not get much. So what happened to Ferrari? That they were losing about 7/10 in qualifying. Let me break it down to you. One, they rushed the rear wings down. So after FP1, they saw that they were about over a second off the pace. During the qualifying, they came back with the devil they know that they used in Melbourne, and that took them about 7/10 to Mercedes, because Mercedes were just powerful. They were just out of this world. And one of the things I think the Mercedes were able to gain from was the engine and battery harvesting. They know how to do that very well, and I think that worked for them. The race pace will be different. I think the Ferrari still has good race pace. They destroyed their own race last week due to strategy, and I think if Lewis Hamilton from 4th position on the grid could jump the two Mercedes with that crazy speed they have and quickly jump up like Lewis Hamilton, we know he could win that sprint race tomorrow like he won last year from pole position. But if you look at how this whole weekend is structured or stacked, you can see that the McLaren they has less complaints unlike last week, because now maybe they've had understanding of what they were missing about the engine. Now they are very close, but that closeness is still far off. That engine still has a lot of juice to offer, in which I think Mercedes will just give them in brief, not open the whole target to them and allow them to just steal the whole show, because McLaren, they've built a car that is very, very interesting, I think. And you can see Pierre Gasly did a quite great job today with that Alpine. Now, Alpine has a lot of speed, and this shows for me now. I can see that Colapinto has a lot to learn, 100%. Jack Doohan last year on this track did a beautiful job, and if you look at the sprint qualifying dot for this year and last year, you can see they are very close, just few tenths. Tomorrow might look different because there will be time to learn. A lot of data coming into qualifying tomorrow. It will be very, very, it might even be faster. These cars will get faster because of the battery power, but I think, do we need much of ice? For me, on these cars, we need much of ice. But funny enough, it is strange to see how powerful the overtaking will be tomorrow. I think overtaking and re-overtaking, because you gain battery and you lose battery and you gain battery, is not funny. That's not fun. But I think it gives the new fans, especially the new ones that don't know about Formula 1, it gives them joy. Like, what's up? This is very interesting, but that's Formula E. You need a lot of driver experience, engine experience to do that. And for addict Formula 1 fans, you see how you use your engine part and your driver understanding to manipulate things, which we are not seeing in present Formula 1. But overall, Mercedes advantage, Ferrari next. And that was what I predicted from preseason. Mercedes, then Ferrari, McLaren, then Red Bull. But Red Bull looks out of pace. They look out of pace. The Cadillac, Sergio Perez could not come out for the sprint qualifying. But the funny thing is, Aston Martin are gaining momentum. It might take them time. The two cars were able to come for qualifying. The two cars should be able to do the 19 laps tomorrow, but there won't be points for them, so they can gather data. They may not be able to finish the main race on Sunday, but it's going to be very interesting because we are going to be seeing something unprecedented this season, because technology grows, technology gets better, and we are going to be seeing much more technology coming in place. AIs will be used, which I think AI should be banned in F1, because with AI you can do a lot of things. You can simulate easily, which takes the real driver approach we needed out. Drivers doing things not as the car is going around, the car keeps learning by itself. We need much. So let's go into the sprint qualifying. So the sprint qualifying, the SQ1, we have Perez did not go into the qualifying. Bottas, so the two Cadillacs at the back. Then we have Stroll, Alonso, the two Aston Martin at the back. Then we have the two Williams, Albon and Sainz. So Sainz out qualifying Albon. That's from 17th to 22. So Sainz, Albon, Alonso, Stroll, Bottas, Perez in that order. But George Russell outpacing. Hamilton looks strong. I think that track is a very strong track for him. But the SQ2 showed a different thing. Hulkenberg did a very huge favor to his team. He was just on it. Presently, China outpacing his teammate, the FP1, the sprint qualifying, but he was able to come in 11th in SQ2 with Ocon next in him 12th, 13th Lawson, Bortoleto 15th, Lindblad, then Colapinto, Russell and Antonelli, class of the class. In SQ3, we had the Mercedes showing their class. Another front row lockout for them. Then Norris in third, Lewis Hamilton in fourth, Piastri, Leclerc, Gasly out qualifying the two Red Bull, Verstappen 8th, Bierman out qualifying Aja in ninth and Aja 10th. Now, this team's brought upgrades. As brought the rear winglet of the exhaust that looks like the Ferrari, but a little bit different. Ferrari brought a small winglets for the front halo. They've brought little packages, but I think the sprint race tomorrow and the qualifying, they're going to have a new dynamics that might shape the season, because a lot of learnings will go into 2 weeks' time. And when we're coming to Japan, it will be a different race, a different Carlo, and a different understanding. But going into the race tomorrow, I still tip Ferrari for the race, because they have the jump and they have the race pace to hold it. The sprint qualifying will be different. Probably Mercedes will unleash more power, come on top again, but the main race will be another thing. It's just a flat race on medium tires. Let's see who comes out on top. But up until tomorrow, I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.